Once upon a time, in a village nestled between hills and a river, there lived a hard-working stonecutter. Day after day, he chipped away at rocks, shaping them into stones that were used for building houses and paths. Despite his honest labor, he was poor and lived in a small hut with a leaky roof. Every day as he walked past the houses of the rich, he would dream of having their luxurious lives. Sometimes he would envy the merchants with their sacks of gold. Other times he wished to be the local lord, enjoying a life of leisure and power. Even the mighty sun and the majestic mountains seemed more blessed than him. He thought to himself, "Oh, to be the sun, to have all the villagers gather around me, basking in my warmth and light, or to be the mountain, standing tall and enduring, watched over by all." He yearned for something beyond his daily routine, dreaming of a life filled with excitement and grandeur. But one day, something extraordinary happened. The stonecutter met an enlightened master who, through his teachings, helped the stonecutter understand the futility of his endless desires. "Why do you keep wishing to be something or someone else?" the master asked him. "You already possess all the qualities you admire in others." These words struck a chord within the stonecutter, making him question his thoughts. Confused, he replied, "But I am just a simple stonecutter. I wish I had the wealth of the merchants or the respect given to the noble lords." "You already have what you need," the master said calmly. "If you seek the joy of giving, you can find it in your work. If you desire creativity, you can find it in the art of sculpting." With the master's guidance, the stonecutter started seeing his work in a different light. He began to appreciate the satisfaction that came from creating something tangible and the happiness it brought to others. As he worked, he realized that his envy had blinded him to the beauty of his craft. Each rock he chipped was a chance to create something unique, each stone an opportunity to express himself. His envy turned into passion, his discontent into creativity. From then on, the stonecutter returned to his daily work with a new heart. No longer did he look at others with envy, but with admiration and respect. In his mind, he understood that they too were simply living their lives. Each person had their own path, their own challenges and joys. Most importantly, he realized that true contentment came from within, from accepting and embracing his own life. Now, as he swung his hammer, it felt like a dance. Each strike was a conversation between him and the stone. He listened to the stone's texture, its resistance, its softness. He felt a sense of connection that went beyond mere labor. The sun might be powerful, the wine might be free, and the mountain might be revered, but the stonecutter found his own kind of power in his work. One day, a traveler passing through the village stopped by the stonecutter's hut. He was amazed by the skill and passion evident in the stonecutter's work. The traveler was so impressed that he shared this experience with everyone he met. Soon, people from nearby villages began coming to see the stonecutter, bringing with them precious stones that they wanted him to shape into exquisite works of art. Though he worked long and hard hours, the stonecutter didn't complain. He found pleasure in every stroke of his hammer, every piece of stone that yielded to his touch. Years went by and the stonecutter grew old, yet his passion for his craft never faded. The wrinkles on his face were a testament to his age, but they also told the story of a man who had found joy in his work. His eyes, though dimmed with age, still held the sparkle of someone who had discovered the beauty in simplicity and the richness of contentment. News of his talent spread far and wide, reaching the ears of a king who ruled over a distant land. Intrigued by the stories, the king decided to visit the humble stonecutter. When the king first approached, he couldn't comprehend why anyone would choose such a simple life. But as he watched the old man work, he began to understand. The stonecutter's weathered hands moved with a grace born out of years of practice. The muscles in his arms and shoulders, once the envy of young, aspiring stonecutters, were now testament to a life well lived. Yet the stonecutter wasn't just admired for his physical prowess. It was the serenity on his face, the calmness in his eyes that truly captivated the king. There was a quiet dignity about him that spoke of a soul at peace. After observing the stonecutter for a while, the king finally broke the silence. "You are an extraordinary man," the king said, his voice echoing the respect in his heart. "You have achieved mastery in your craft, a level of skill that I am sure would make any young apprentice envious. Why then, with such talent, do you live a life of simplicity?" The stonecutter paused his work, a soft smile gracing his lips. He looked up at the king, his gaze steady and clear. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice as rugged and comforting as the stones he worked with, I do not envy anyone, not the merchants with their sacks of gold, nor the nobles in their palaces. For I have learned that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in who we are and what we bring to the world. The stonecutter took a moment to gather his thoughts, each word carefully considered. I find joy in my work, he continued. In shaping these stones, I find a sense of purpose and contentment. I have discovered that the real power comes not from being greater than others, but from embracing and perfecting what we are. The stonecutter's words hung in the air like the scent of freshly cut stone, resonating with the king in ways he hadn't anticipated. The king sat quietly, absorbing the stonecutter's wisdom. He had come seeking an explanation, but it seemed he was the one being taught. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the workshop, the king rose to leave. Before departing, he turned to the stonecutter and said, "You have taught me much today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with me." With that, the king left, carrying with him not just the memory of a great stonecutter, but the profound lessons of contentment and purpose. The stonecutter resumed his work, his heart full of tranquility. He knew that true wealth lay not in material possessions, but in the richness of one's spirit and the value one brings to the world. And so he continued to shape his stones, finding joy in every stroke, knowing that in doing so, he was also shaping his life into a masterpiece. This story reminds us that the secret to happiness often lies in appreciating what we have rather than constantly seeking something else. The stonecutter's journey is a testament to this truth, showing us that contentment can be found in the simplest of lives when we learn to embrace our work and the value it brings to the world. True fulfillment doesn't come from being wealthy, powerful, or famous. It comes from living a life of purpose and finding joy in every moment. So let us take inspiration from the humble stonecutter and appreciate the beauty in our everyday lives. Let us find contentment in our work and strive to become the best versions of ourselves. Remember, happiness isn't something we chase on the outside, it's something we discover on the inside.